Monday just got better, because The View is live. Mueller time's up. Will President Trump's attacks lead to Robert Mueller getting fired? And could it cause a Republican revolt? Beating around the bush? Why some people aren't buying Billy Bush's take on his infamous Access Hollywood bus ride.
When ignorance and bigotry is allied with power, it is a dangerous force in our country.
Is this the man Democrats are betting on to beat Trump in 2020? Rising superstar Senator Cory Booker is giving his political view of the future. And a brand new View Your Deal Oprah edition. Let's go! Hot topics are in the house with Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, Sunny Hostin, and Meghan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
Wasn't feeling well before the show this morning. Sorry she's not here, so we sent her home to rest up.
Yeah, because she came in today.
Oh, she was like, what?
Yeah.
Got to go home. She had a party for 17 children at her house, and they, they're full of germs, these kids.
They are. I mean, they are. They're petri dishes, right? They're like human
always at
germ
least one
incubators.
or two that are sick and
And they're like doing this.
spreading the love.
Another reason not to have kids, guys.
Too late for some of us, Megan. Thank you for reminding me.
So I would like to start the show off today by mentioning that today is St. Joseph's Day. Do you all know about St. Joseph's Day?
I didn't.
Because was a saint who is close to my heart, not only because I was named Josephine, my real name.
Yeah.
And after St. Joseph, and I also buried his statue in my yard when I wanted to sell my house, and it
works.
sold.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
so I
bury
want to
him.
give him a shout out.
You bury him like upside down.
I buried
in your
him upside
yard.
down
When
in
you
the
want
house.
to sell
sold.
things?
What is he the
When you
patron
want to
saint
sell.
of?
He's the patron saint of houses, I guess, because I
Put
don't
it
know.
down. Yeah.
Something like
There's a
that.
saint for houses?
Well,
Yeah.
you
Or
know,
like the whole.
the homie, I don't know, that you put the statue upside down in the yard, the house
And you
sells.
bury
That's all I'm
it.
saying.
It's
Okay.
a Catholic thing.
Yeah. So is it last call for Mueller time? Trump spent the weekend attacking Robert Mueller on Twitter, and his lawyers want an end to the Russia investigation. But his golf buddy, Lindsey Graham, thinks it's a bad idea. Watch.
Are you worried that the president is preparing to order the firing of Mueller? It sure looks that way from his tweets.
Well, as I said before, if he tried to do that, that would be the beginning of the end of his presidency, because we're a rule of law nation. When it comes to Mr. Mueller, he is following the evidence where it takes him, and I think it's very important he be allowed to do his job without interference, and there are many Republicans who share my view.
So who are these other Republicans? Paul Ryan said through a spokesperson that Mueller should be able to do his job. That's all he said. And Mitch McConnell has said zip. So why won't they just step in and really say, as a matter of fact, McConnell said that we don't need a law to protect Mueller.
Well, Trey Gowdy came out and said the president's attorney frankly does him a disservice when he says that and when he frames the investigation that way. He went on to basically say that firing Mueller would be cataclysmic. I think Lindsey Graham in particular, because he's a hard person to pin down politically. Some days he's best friends golfing with Trump. Other days he's a big critic of the administration. But I think him coming out saying it would be cataclysmic is significant.
Well, because if you're innocent, that's the thing. I think the Trey Gowdy's, I also liked that quote, and he said, if you've done nothing wrong, you should want the investigation to be as fulsome and thorough as possible, and that's true. You'd almost say, if I have nothing to hide, dig deep, because at the end of this, I'm going to come out looking good, and the more he tries to shut it down, the more I'm intrigued.
But that's so
the problem.
disingenuous. It's very disingenuous for them to say, if you have nothing to hide. They know he has plenty to hide.
No, but
they're
he's not
saying-
behaving as an innocent person. I mean, I remember there were people that we would investigate, and they'd say, come into my office, take all my computer files. They wanted the investigation to be as robust as possible. And as a prosecutor, you start to think, well, maybe they don't have anything to hide if they're being so transparent. But when you have someone who you're investigating who is at every turn trying to obstruct justice, and you're investigating him for obstructing justice, it raises a lot of red flags for you.
I know. Well,
Yeah.
but Graham is a notorious flip-flopper. I like him, but he flip-flops, so I don't know if I can believe him or
Yeah, but
trust
he
him.
was the
I don't
one
think
that
he's lying
proposed
about that. Go ahead.
the legislation. Well, it was we were talking about in the meeting today because he was the one that said you shouldn't be able to
Fire the special
special
counsel.
He
counsel.
co-sponsored this bill
Yeah.
that
Cory
prevents the
Booker.
president from firing a president.
So he's been
president
consistent.
But where's
special
Mueller?
counsel.
Well, I'm not Mueller. Where's Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan? They're
Is he?
the leaders of the party. They
Well,
say nothing.
I don't
really.
think, well, honestly, I don't think it's logical that Mueller is going to get fired. I don't think it's in the realm of possibility. I think on both sides there would be absolute bedlam in the street if it happens. I think it would be yes, I think that
It's a constitutional crisis,
yes.
sure.
Don't you? I mean, I think it would be absolute chaos.
Yeah.
So I don't see, I think you can tweet a lot of things and say a lot of things, but I don't, if it happened, I mean, we would probably come into this show drinking,
Well,
quite frankly.
I mean, we've already seen that in history with Nixon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but the
firing
Republicans were different in those
independent
days.
counsel.
They actually cared more than these
Oh,
Republicans.
for God's
Sorry.
sake, Trey Gowdy, Lindsey Graham, I'm here telling you
There's a
we have to
couple.
be drinking.
There's a
as
Wait,
a
couple.
only Monday. Let's work into this.
It was because of the Republican Party back in the day of Watergate that Nixon had to resign.
Yeah.
I wonder if that will happen. It's so obvious that the Russians have hacked into this election. They control our national grid. When is Trump and the rest of them going to, when they stop not being able to watch Fox News, is that when it's going to happen?
gonna
When
talk
the
about
lights
McCabe
go
at
out?
all?
They can
Yeah.
do it. They can do that. They can tap into our nuclear facilities. I mean, we're in trouble in this country, and everybody seems to be la 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 la.
I don't think it's la la la.
No,
I think most. I mean, there are studies that show more people are going to therapists and are on medication than any other time. I don't think anybody's like la la la.
All right.
There's an overwhelming amount of anxiety in this.
Okay, Friday we wondered if Jeff Sessions would fire FBI Director Andrew McCabe just 2 days before retirement. You remember that?
Yeah.
Well, he did. He fired him right before he retired, so McCabe could lose part of his pension. There's also a report that General Kelly, fired Rex Tillerson when he was on the toilet. Yeah, so my question is, what is it with these mean boys? They always talk about mean girls. These are very mean boys we're talking
I think
about
the
here.
McCabe thing is very important because yes, he Jeff Sessions did this and I guess almost ruined the pension of a 20-year government employee, 20 plus years. But if you look at President Trump's tweets this weekend, it appears that he is, I guess, thinking that McCabe and Comey and Mueller are all part of this alleged conspiracy, witch hunt to get him. And I think we should be very concerned about that because McCabe does have some memos about President.
But McCabe
his
also
interactions
is
with Trump.
accused. I mean, what's going on here, too, is that McCabe was accused of inappropriately leaking information to the Wall Street Journal regarding the Clinton Foundation. He says that Comey gave him clearance to do so, that the people underneath him could talk to journalists. Comey, under oath, said that he never sanctioned anyone giving any information to the press or leaking out. One of these two guys is lying. So when you're talking about people guessing about what's going on in the FBI and in these investigations, one way or another, someone lied under oath.
I don't agree with that, actually, because we don't really know why McCabe was fired because the IG's report hasn't been released. So
that's why I'm surprised by the
Found
action, though,
that he
because
inappropriately
we're not
allowed
sure.
two officials to speak to reporters.
We haven't.
That's why he was fired. You're allowing your
but we
people
haven't
to
seen it. Like it's kind of speculative. But that being said, if you look at what Comey said during his investigation, he said, I didn't leak anything, and I don't know anyone anonymously leaking anything. That is not necessarily a lie, because if he gave permission to his deputy,
Then is it a leak?
it's not necessarily a leak.
Well, with
So
all
I
of this,
think-
there's also Stormy Daniels, so
but
we'll
can
be
you
right
explain why
back with
it's
more
not?
hot topics.
Still ahead, Stormy damage. The president just hit Stormy Daniels with a $20 million lawsuit. Will this scare her into silence? This week, The View springs into Hot Topics.
So let's get to it.
Whoa! Plus, Jenna Fisher and Oliver Hudson hit the table. And if you're Luke Skywalker and you just got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, where do you go next?
Love you.
That's right. And Vice President Mike Pence's daughter, Charlotte Pence, is also coming to The View this week on ABC. Later, Democratic superstar Senator Cory Booker gives his political view on whether he has his eye on the White House in 2020. And feel the Oprah effect on View Your Deal.
lawyer, Michael Cohen, is threatening to sue Stormy Daniels for $20 million. Why? For violating the non-disclosure agreement, also known as the NDA, and he wants to take it to federal court. They are literally making a federal case out of it. You know, your mother, what are you making a federal case out of it? That's what they're doing. Now, doesn't this prove that Stormy has info that they don't want out there?
I know, it's so strange. Well, they want to move it to federal court because then they can have an arbitration. And remember, arbitrations are sort of like secret proceedings. So
What is it, secret proceeding?
It's almost like a secret proceeding.
So we'll never hear it.
Exactly, as opposed to federal court where it's open to the public, and so you can find out about it. I suspect that's why they did it. But I pulled this for joy. I pulled the actual notice of removal. It says Stephanie Clifford, a.k.a. Stormy Daniels, versus Donald J. Trump, a.k.a. David Dennison. Wow. And he filed it. So is he?
So he's in the middle of it now.
I guess he's David Dennison.
I thought he said he had nothing to do with it. Now he's in the middle of it.
That's what's so strange, right? If he had nothing to do with it, then why did he join the lawsuit and remove it to federal court?
Does this automatically happen, or is he?
It doesn't automatically
Who will make the decision on whether this is a justifiable case?
A federal judge, but I suspect it will go to federal.
So now that he's in the middle of it, and this was obviously hush money, doesn't that say something about how
guilty What do we want to know? Because is it like Occam's razor? Of course. Is it highly likely that he slept with a porn star and paid her off?
Yeah.
1,000%. I got it.
Yeah.
But I want to know going forward, her Pornhub searches have spiked 375% following the weeks after the Wall Street Journal report. She put out this original press tour where I was intensely unimpressed, not because she's a porn star, but she came on TV and absolutely just giggled. So I want to know, going forward, if she's threatened, if she knows something about the Mueller investigation, if she knows something about our national security,
that's
great. But I want to know going forward, what are we interested? I'm no longer interested.
We're interested in the hush money.
But the campaign finance law.
But if he paid, so there's proof now that the Trump campaign, through the vessel of the Trump campaign, paid her off. That's what we want to know right now.
Yeah, I want to know if he broke campaign finance law.
That seems to be against the law.
I don't even know what I want to know, but because he keeps doing things, it's making me think there's something I should know.
Yeah.
So it's almost like instigating it.
It's campaign finance laws. If he paid $130,000 to hush her up, right before the election, I think as the American people, we should know if that money was used.
I don't even
illegally.
care. What about this on Friday? And it's like a bullying scheme to put against a private citizen, $1 million per count he's charging with the non-disclosure. Now I'm like, what is so big in this interview?
That's what I mean. Is there something else
I can't think of what it is, but I'm fascinated.
But
I think she should sit with Mueller.
She wants to.
What about the fact with Mueller?
She's going on 60 Minutes this Sunday. She was supposed to go on last Sunday.
Not this week.
Not this week.
25th, I believe.
Okay, so it keeps getting moved. Every Sunday it keeps getting moved when I'm going to hear her talk,
Well,
by the
because
way.
they're vetting it.
I get it, but I want to know. But this is the problem, is even for me right now, I'm like, enough dancing, enough teasing. You're on your Make America Horny Again tour. I got it, but I want to know what else you have to say. And it's obnoxious.
Well, we'll find out.
The campaign finance.
But what? Like week off, week off, week off.
But I don't think that's her choice, though. I think that, aren't there some legal battles with not allowing it to air?
Yes, of course.
That's the part that I think is holding
But
her
that
up.
could take forever.
It's making the tour more profitable.
That could take till
won't, though.
2020.
It won't. I'm
She's
pretty
making
sure that
money.
CBS will be able to air it.
Stormy Daniels was not born like Donald Trump with a multi-million-dollar gift from his
let's
daddy.
remember,
I'm
we
not
took
knocking
she
her
needs to make a living.
First of all, I would never talk at a woman who is making money and illegal. And of course not.
Right.
That's not the issue. But we can't negate the fact that she has benefited financially from his accusation.
Good for her.
Yeah. Which is whatever. But if that's the
not
only reason why you're doing this.
But we cared when John Edwards did this. We cared enough to take him to court. We cared then. Why don't we care about this now?
I have to wrap.
Well, I certainly cared about John Edwards. In fact, there were many rumors on campaigns that this was going on, and it took a National Enquirer journalist to get it out, not a regular political
Well,
journalist.
the National Enquirer is in Trump's
and it
pocket,
was
so it's not going to
And they
happen
won a
again like
Peabody
that.
Award, by the way. The National Enquirer won a Peabody Award for that.
Well,
so
why
I
are they in
cared.
Trump's pocket all the time?
Yeah.
They never say a negative thing about him.
Well, I don't work for the
Interesting.
National Enquirer.
And also, you know what? The other thing, one more thing about Stormy Daniels, and I have to go. She says she was threatened physically.
Yes, and I would like to know
that's
by
again-
whom.
Okay, we'll find
I would like
out.
to know by whom.
Yeah.
And I'm teasing. I want to know the details.
Pull your heels. They're going to find out.
Joy, I want to find out now.
We'll be right back.
I'm a millennial.
He's the rising political superstar on Democrats' wish list for the 2020 presidential race.
This is the fight for our nation to live up to our ideals.
So why does Senator Cory Booker say coming out against President Trump is a huge mistake? He's live on The View next.
The commander-in-chief in an Oval Office meeting referring to people from African countries and Haitians with the most vile and vulgar language. The language festers. When ignorance and bigotry is allied with power, it is a dangerous force in our country. Your silence and your amnesia is complicity.
That was Senator Cory Booker unloading on Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen at an oversight hearing back in January. A lot of Democrats hope he'll bring that passion into the 2020 presidential race. We'll find out, maybe. Please welcome Cory Booker.
I need to start every Monday like that.
I know, it's true. Very good to have you here.
Good to be here.
So maybe you heard us talking this morning about how Lindsey Graham, Senator Graham, said that firing Bob Mueller would be the end of his presidency. You know, the Democrats don't have a lot of power right now. Maybe in November they'll have it, but right now they don't. So it's really up to the Republicans to do something. And Mitch McConnell has been radio silence. Ryan gave a sort of a lukewarm. What's going to happen, in your opinion?
Well, first of all, understand that the power of the people is greater than the people in power. We all have power right now to make a change. And expressing moral outrage. Remember, the first thing that the Republican Congress did before Donald Trump was sworn in was try to pull away independent ethics oversight in the House. And it was the outrage of the American public that stopped that from happening. We saw the removal of health care for 40 million Americans, the outrage of the public.
Well, then why don't they know that already, then? They've seen it happen before. What are they waiting for?
Well, I think that Lindsey Graham said it right, as well as Trey Gowdy, that if Donald Trump was to do something like this, it would cause, really, I think, the unwinding of his presidency. But I'm not willing to wait. I reached out to Lindsey Graham. We have a bill that's already had a hearing in the Judiciary Committee to provide a constructive check on the presidential power to order the removal of a special counsel. So we're trying to take actions. But I cannot let the public know that their voice is so important right now. Letting Republican congresspeople, Republican senators know, say, hey, let's not tolerate this. Let's be like Trey Gowdy said. Let's let the investigation continue, especially if you have nothing to be afraid of. If you're as innocent as you say, let the investigation continue.
Okay.
Senator... is a longtime Republican, but Trump tweeted that 13 out of the 17 members were registered Democrats. 6 of them donated to Hillary Clinton. Don't you think the optics of that are difficult? So
I haven't fact-checked it this morning. I heard the New York Times on their podcast this morning question that fact. I've just never seen this in business. When I was the mayor, you just don't see executives heckling and maligning law enforcement the way that this president seems to be comfortable doing. And so for him to be active, this is part of a larger pattern of Donald Trump going after the intelligence agencies, the FBI. This is unacceptable in America.
So you don't think it's fair game if they're Democrats that donated to Hillary?
I don't think it's fair game for him to be doing what he's doing, which is trying to undermine the integrity of agencies by doing all of this picking at them. This is so unpresidential of him, but more importantly, it's exactly what the Russians want, us to be going after our sacred institutions, whether they're the press or the public. What we see right now is a president going after continuously in a vile, vulgar way institutions in our country and people who are trying to serve our nation and keep us safe.
Does it concern you if they're leaking? Because that's the accusations right now. And even for people like me, I mean, obviously, I've always had the utmost respect for the CIA and the FBI. But if there is leaking going on internally, that's also a huge problem.
Right, but here's the President of the United States who has access to the understanding. There's an Inspector General report that he could have waited for, let the authorities, let the due process happen. Why is he always on Twitter tormenting people, bullying people in ways that we tell children not to do? It's the worst type of behavior, and it's having a consequence on even just dialogue in our democracy. He's really bringing it down to a venal, sort of guttural level when we should have, and you saw this with Bush. John McCain is somebody who does this all the time. People elevating the dialogue in our country, talking in a more honorable way. This is a guy that for the year plus that he's been in office, even before that, he's demeaning and degrading people, heckling folks, and really showing the worst, in my opinion, of American conversation and not trying to bring it up to a higher level.
You just mentioned, Senator, you just mentioned Trump's attacks on, the intelligence community. All of this seems to come on the heels of Trump firing the former FBI director, Andrew McCabe, or rather Sessions firing it, 26 hours before his retirement and his pension. Trump called it a great day for democracy. What would you call it?
Well, again, you heard Marco Rubio and other Republicans saying this is, again, the way that Donald Trump is going about this, it does not reflect well on him, on the presidency, and our values as a country. I don't know what the Inspector General report's going to say, but I do know that, remember, this Twitter tormenting began weeks and weeks ago when he started calling him out without any facts.
And going after his wife.
Yeah, and going after his wife and spouse. I mean, we cannot let this kind of behavior just continue as if it's normal in our country. So this is a very troublesome episode. I want to get to the bottom of it. And there's a lot of folks on both sides of the aisle who've called for our own investigation in Congress.
Well, you're on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Is that would you be interested in investigating McCabe's firing?
I am very interested in investigating it, and something I'm going to try to do to use my office to hold the president accountable, which is what we should be doing. It's checks and balances.
Senator, former CIA Director John Brennan and former FBI Director James Comey came out very aggressively against McCabe's firing on Twitter. Now, I'm a little torn on this because some of it was even threatening what will happen when this investigation plays out. Does that fuel the narrative that the FBI is biased, or does this just force their hand because silence would be allowing him to speak truth as if it is truth?
I think you're seeing these sort of independent voices. You saw McCaffrey, a four-star Army general, come out and just say that Donald Trump himself is a threat to national security. Yeah. If FDR, when Pearl Harbor happened, said, well, wait a minute on Tojo, let's investigate this a little bit further, or said nice things about somebody. Orrin Hatch called the attacks on us by the Russians, to our grid, to our democracy itself, to our electoral process, tantamount to a Pearl Harbor-like attack. We are under attack right now in the cyber sphere by enemies who have the desire to undermine our country.
And what are we doing about it?
Well, that's the thing. This is presidential malpractice, that he has not sounded the alarms. He's not used the tools that Congress gave him in a bipartisan way to hold the Russians accountable. He has a better relationship with Putin than he does Theresa May and other European allies of ours.
But wasn't that a red flag the minute he said Obama was bad and Putin was great? I mean, remember that? It was like, why did they turn on him at that moment and say this is already treasonous, what you're saying?
The fact that they're attacking our electrical grid, probing our vulnerabilities, these are our adversaries on the global scale can't beat us tank for tank or warship for warship. They're trying to do it in the cyber realm. But there's something else that you said that really bothers me about where we are going as in politics, and this isn't just the president. We seem to demonize each other so much. You said he's demonizing Barack Obama more than he's demonizing somebody who's attacking our country. Right. You know, I still remember one of the low points for me watching the Republican primaries was watching my former governor, Chris Christie, get lambasted by other Republican candidates for the sin of hugging Barack Obama.
Yeah, I remember.
If we have demonized each other as Americans so much that human contact is something that is considered a betrayal of your tribe, so to speak. Same thing happened to me when John McCain had a cancer diagnosis and came back to the Senate floor in a powerful moment. And I crossed the aisle on the C-SPAN cameras, which mean about 14 Americans saw it, and hugged John McCain.
Yeah.
And by the time I got home that night, I was going through Twitter and I was getting lambasted from people for hugging John McCain.
I feel that I should hug a Republican today.
I think that...
There's one right here.
I think that...
The Senate is going to stick around, and we'll be right back. Cory Booker, who had something to say about last
finish
segment.
that point. We all got to this country in different ways through our ancestry, but we're all in the same boat now. And to try to think we're going to demonize each other so bad, we need each other. There's an old African saying that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. If this country is going to make it far, we've got to learn to find ways to create common ground, to stand together and work together.
All right. Go ahead.
So that message that you're saying is refreshing for me. But then you have Hillary Clinton last week in India saying that she won areas that were, quote, forward-thinking. Trump won places that were backward-thinking on issues like race and racism. I'm from one of those states she's talking about. And I just want to know from you, going forward in 2020, do you think this is an appropriate way for Democrats to speak about Republicans?
Listen, we in this country, first of all, the election's over and is passed. I know that Donald Trump in every other sentence is talking about Obama and Secretary Clinton.
Right.
The reality is we have to, in this coming 2018 election, forget 2020, focus on right now, we have to begin to see each other for the truth of who we are. This idea of tolerance in America, that we're just going to stomach each other's right to be different, that is such a cynical state. Patriotism is love of country. Love of country demands that we love each other. We don't always have to agree or like each other, but love says, I see your worth, I see your value, I understand that my destiny is interwoven with yours. And so while Donald Trump seems to be intent on separating, dividing, demeaning, degrading, I want Republicans and Democrats to start a new national narrative about how we need each other.
Not to push back on you, but Hillary makes me feel that way as well. I mean, do you think this kind of messaging from her is hurting your party right now?
Again, Secretary Clinton lost the electoral vote. She's not the president of the United States. My focus is on the future, and we right now are in a state of crisis. We cannot do we can't do the things we all agree upon in this country right now, whether it's dreamers or comprehensive background checks. We need to get back to a country that understands that we're not each other's enemies, and if we see each other that way, we're not going to be able to rise to our greatest aspirations. And so that's the kind of thing that we need right now, to go from a divisive rhetoric to rhetoric that says, hey, we may disagree on a lot of things, but let's find the common ground. Let that be our foundation and build a greater country.
Okay, let's get to the point, though. Before we go, are you a contender in 2020 for president?
I am a contender for the 2018 midterms, where I'm going to be fighting for every Democratic candidate.
That's a non-answer answer.
This is the most important midterm election of our lifetime.
I know.
And my focus and energy for folks who are looking beyond that.
We're looking beyond
Don't
that.
look beyond. November. That's
How
where we
many
got to look.
people would like him to run? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our thanks to Senator Cory Booker, and we'll be right back.
All right.
Speak your mind fearlessly. Hold nothing back. That's what these women do.
This is America, and we're supposed to have a difference of opinion. We should want to be a united front.
We need more compassion. We need more empathy. We need more togetherness. We don't need more bullying, and I'm tired of it.
And that's why the hottest political exclusives happen here.
If you're a Republican and you want to make news, come on this show.
Thank you. It's all happening right here on The View. Tomorrow, Vice President Mike Pence's daughter, Charlotte Pence, is live on The View. How her best-selling book, A Day in the Life of the Vice President, is sparking a social media sensation. And she's bringing a very special family member with her.
So, welcome back. Okay, so I was watching Bill Maher the other night, and Billy Bush was on the show, and he looks as though he's trying to get back after the Access Hollywood tape practically ruined his life and his career. And what he said was, the question was, what would you have done differently now that you know? And he said, A, I would have changed the subject and not gone along and laughed. And the second part was, look, the guy was a powerhouse at the network with Celebrity Apprentice. He's had to keep his job. So do you think that that absolves him, those answers?
No, I thought the answers were terrible because, like Pete Dominic pointed out, he lacks social courage. The worst thing you can do is just be a bystander when you see bigotry, when you see racism, when you see misogyny. That is the worst thing, because I think you become complicit in it.
Let me ask you a question. How is that different, and I'm sure there's a reason, from the Me Too movement, where women say, I had to hold on to my job?
Yeah, well,
it's interesting.
Yeah, I think this is different again, because the Me Too movement was really founded on women's sticking together and saying, I see you, I see your pain, it happened to me too. Rather, what Billy Bush is doing, he's saying, you know what, I wanted to keep my job, and so not only did I not stand up to misogyny, I encouraged it. Because remember, what he did was he egged it on, and he told Trump, how about a little hug for, I'm sorry, he told Ariana Zucker, how about a little hug for Donald? So he encouraged the bad behavior on top of it.
Well, I think that's the kicker for me, because I think social courage, as she called it on the show, was about taking a stand when you're by yourself. She said it was easier to march in a group of thousands of people that think like you than to stand up against someone who doesn't. The part that gets me is the goading. That part was where I understand it must be really tough in life, although you hope you'd be different in that situation. That's a lot to ask. You know, you hope you do, but the part that got me was the hugging on the way out and the kind of encouraging a conversation that had been secret
and
to her.
not saying today, I should have done more, I should have done better, I should have said something.
Really quickly, we have anything on this?
I don't like him. He's doing it all wrong. He's doing it all wrong. Right? I don't like him.
So
you know what? You have to be more socially aware and socially conscious of the things that you were involved in, like you said, with the woman. And I think he should go strict into politics, join the resistance, and he wants to still be a beloved host, and I don't see how that's possible.
Right, but you know, okay, but he's not Charles Manson. Let's not get carried away.
Because the person that made the comment on the tape is in the White House.
Okay, yes, we gotta go. We'll be right back. I know. We gotta go.
Get ready. We partnered with vendors for at least half off O Magazine's latest favorite things next.
When it has Oprah's seal of approval. So we partner with vendors for at least half off some of O Magazine's latest batch of favorite things while supplies last. Here to show them off, welcome back Creative Director of O Magazine, Adam Glassman.
Welcome back to you too. I'm so happy to see you.
I'm so excited. We're reunited.
Reunited, and we're going to start off with MJ. This is really one of Oprah's favorite things. Started by two high school girls. They created this line, yes, the most incredible hair ties ever, hair accessories. Oprah wears them. She's wearing one in this cover in her ponytail. They do not dent your hair. They hold your hair in place.
It's all I wear.
But this is the thing. They've now started this clothing line.
It's the same girls?
These are the same girls. It's the most incredible
I have it on
fabric.
right now. It's the
You're never going to
softest.
take it off. The softest thing ever. I have it on
so
too. We're
amazing.
twinning right
Yes.
now. We are twinning. The sweatpants and the tops. Oprah wears it. Sarah Jessica Parker wears it. You could wear these.
You had me at Oprah, so.
Okay, but you could wear it with sneakers and you can dress them up. The prices normally are $20 to $136. Today they're going to be $10 to $68. 50%.
I think
Yes.
hair ties for everyone.
Everyone.
Joy
Okay.
run out and lose them.
This is another thing everyone needs. It's the Flinch roller. Bet you don't know what it is. It is a retractable and refillable
like a
lip
big lipstick.
roller. It looks like a lipstick. This will never stick to anything.
This is so cute.
It's so cute. It will never stick to anything. It will never get dirty. You get 2 of these. You get 6 refills. It fits in a clutch bag.
Yeah, because otherwise the lint roller cleans your whole purse while it's waiting in there.
Purse.
Yeah.
This is in a bag, so you'll have pet hair gone, lint gone. You buy a few, keep one in your luggage, keep one in your purse, keep one in your desk drawer,
car,
the whole
everything.
thing.
Yeah.
The original price is $38. Today we're going to do $19 for a set of 2 plus refills, and you're going to get free shipping.
Oh, I love free shipping. Adam Glassman.
Yes.
You have to
Okay.
get that.
We all love Amelia Rose. The viewers love it. My readers love it. She really makes statement jewelry at an affordable price.
These are new designs.
These are new designs. These are druzy colored stones. A lot of shine. They add a lot of pop to any outfit. You'll wear them day to night.
They shimmer a little.
They're really beautiful. Ton of colors. The deal is
that pink is
incredible.
so cute.
Normally they're $89. Today they're going to be $24. 70. And if you go online, there's a lot more options.
I love those
A lot
colors.
more. Really beautiful. Really beautiful.
Shoes.
Okay, well,
They're not
insoles for shoes. The ability to wear high heels 4 times longer than you normally would. From Vivian Lew. Yes, you know that. But these are incredible. They take the weight off of the ball of your foot. They keep your foot from slipping forwards. Super great, really comfortable. Now she offers ones for flats, because a lot of people have problem wearing flats for a long time. So yes, they cup the back of your heel. They're
I've been looking for something for that.
Super great. I'm telling you, now you're going to wear it.
Yes.
The original price, $29 to $49. The deal today will be $14.50 to $24.50. 50% off. They work really well. You just pop them in and out. You can just, or buy a few and just keep them ready in your shoes. Okay. Color Wow is the most incredible product for anyone who has color-treated hair. The shampoo and conditioner, well, a lot of people do. The shampoo and conditioner keeps your hair its color that it's meant to be. These products make your hair thicker and fuller. Who doesn't want that? It's great for thinning hair. The star product, I have to say, is this. This is a root touch-up kit. Think of it as like you do it with a brush. It's a little bit like eyeshadow for your hair. Instantly gets rid of the gray. Comes in 8 different shadows. It will fill in any little bit of holes the scalp that shows. This stuff is incredible. The original price is $22 to $69. Today it'll be $11 to $27.60. Savings up to 60%.
I love these little things.
I love these things
are my
too.
favorite.
They have been a favorite thing for 2 years in a row. These are my audio pets.
Speakers.
They're little speakers, Bluetooth speakers. They make the best sound ever in every room. Tons of colors. This is the newest one.
It's a
the
little
chickadee doodah. Think about these. They
Just
look
in time
like
for Easter.
Exactly. They look like Easter eggs. Put them in your Easter egg basket. They'll last longer than candy.
Oh, I love
Totally
it.
great. They're normally $30. We're doing 50% off today. $15 for these. Really great.
This is a good batch, Adam.
It's a good
Oprah, way to
batch,
go.
yes.
Big thank you to Adam. The clock is ticking. You have 24 hours to grab any of these exclusive deals, doyourdeal.com. And members of the audience, they're going home with a Flint roller and a copy of O Magazine. Have a great day, everyone. And take a little time to enjoy